Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Rebel Moon, baby.
Jonathan Voitko.
What's up?
Robert Meyer Burnett is here.
Game day.
Game day.
I haven't been able to say game day in a long time.
I haven't said it in a
Game
while, but Captain America Brave New World comes out today, and we're going to talk about that too. My name, of course, is John Campea. Good to have you guys here so much. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend some time with us. We really appreciate it. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few topics that we've got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or topic that you'd like us to address, as long as we deem it appropriate to address on the show, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's the good news. This tip link, good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're listening to our show on our podcast feed, either on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or maybe you're watching this show a little bit later in the day on YouTube when we're not live, you can still use the tip link, send in a question anytime you like. And if you send it in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, with that down, let's get on to our first topic here, shall we? And that one is this. I loved The Accountant. I love that Ben Affleck movie so much. John Bernthal, his brother, Anna Kendrick. Was it Anna Kendrick who was in that with them? I think it was. J.K. Simmons. I keep wanting to say J.K. Rowling. J.K. Simmons was in that with him. I loved that movie.
Bro.
Now, the movie didn't do all that great. It just didn't. Didn't do well at the box office. But they left it open for a sequel, and I always wished they would, even though I understood why they probably would never do it. And every year that would pass, and another year would pass, seemed less likely. And then all of a sudden we got word that they were actually going to do An Accountant 2. I have no idea how they pulled that off, because again, the movie didn't do all that great, and it was forever ago. But they were doing it, and now the first trailer had come out. Loved it. Oh, God, I loved it. When they did the line of, do you always confess to capital murder? I didn't say anything. One of the things I loved was the dynamic between Ben Affleck and John Bernthal as these murderous brothers, which is fantastic. And even the whole scene that obviously sets up and gets the movie in motion when JK is about to get murdered and he's desperately writing a message on his arm. Even he knows he's about to die, so he writes this message on his arm, gets everything rolling. Absolutely loved that. I had wondered if we might see Anna Kendrick. I heard she wasn't in the movie, but I was still kind of holding out hope maybe she would pop in there. Probably makes sense that she's not in there. I'll tell you what, though. One of the cool things about The Accountant universe as a whole is that it focuses your main character is a character who is on the spectrum. And look, I am somebody who knows practically less than nothing about being on the spectrum and the condition and all that kind of stuff. And I know there's various scales of it, but I remember when that first movie came out, I think we were still at AMC. When that first movie came out, getting all these messages from people saying, I have a kid who's on the spectrum. It's so refreshing to see like an action hero doing this sort of stuff. We got messages from people who themselves identify as being on the spectrum, stuff like that. So I thought that is really cool that they're doing this. And they managed to take that and make a wonderful, great movie out of it. And I've wondered, could they continue it? And listen, a trailer's a trailer. It's not the movie. Maybe the movie will suck ass, but the action looks like they're delivering a huge promise of lots of action again. That whole scene where the two brothers come walking out the door and everything like that is all I want to see is Ben Affleck and John Bernthal wrecking fools. That's all I want to see. And if anybody is stupid enough to come after them, bring it on. I love the look of this thing. Rob, you had a chance to see the trailer. What did you think about it?
You know, you and I both share a love of this. I guess it's now a franchise.
Yeah.
I own The Accountant 4K.
Of course you do.
Media. I love this movie, as do you. You know, as far as being on the spectrum, I'm just undiagnosed. But I really love, I'm just kidding. When it comes to Star Trek, let me talk about Star Trek. This franchise is great. You know, this is an elegant franchise.
You know what? It really is.
It's elegant. I mean, the way you go back and you watch this, it's beautifully composed. It's got that kind of wintry feel. Like, I don't imagine The Accountant would ever take place. They're not going to go to the tropics. Like this
Maybe that's where they go next.
The accountant in Peru.
The accountant goes west.
Yeah, I mean, I there's something about this franchise that this is such a weird. I equate it to the Equalizer franchise. Like there's 3 Equalizer movies, and Denzel did go to Europe. He goes to Italy, but I love that franchise as well. Like this, it's smart, it's elegant, it's got great action. The characters are unique, and even though Ben Affleck's an assassin, there's so much more to him. He's got art. He's got an evil villain or an evil hero, or not an evil, but he's a killer, but he's got his own lair.
Yeah, his own secret lair.
His own secret lair. I mean, this is like a superhero movie. This is more like if M. Night Shyamalan made a superhero movie, he might direct The Accountant. Kind of like Unbreakable. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I'm making that. But God, dude, this trailer was dope. I got more excited for this trailer than I probably should have.
And look, and for anybody who wants a little bit of info on the new movie, this is how Variety describes it. They say ahead of the film's worldwide premiere at this year's South by Southwest Film and Television Festival on March 8th, that's enough to make me consider flying to Austin and go to this festival just so I can see this. The Accountant 2 has released an official trailer showing Christian Wolf, played by Ben Affleck, back in action as the autistic accountant who works to uncook the books. In this new film, he is recruited to help solve a murder case by a Treasury agent, Cynthia Dye Robinson. In order to get to the bottom of the matter, the emotionally distant Christian must reconnect with his brother Brax, played by John Bernthal, after the events of the first film.
Count me in.
That's as complicated and as simple as it needs to be. It's like, dude, shit is being disturbed. Let's pull out the guns. That's not the way to handle situations in life, but I love it in my movies. So yeah, I dig this trailer a lot. I cannot wait to see this movie. Guys, the question is for you. What did you think of the new trailer for The Accountant 2? Hey, listen, I don't blame any of you if you'd completely forgotten about this. I frankly never thought it would happen. And as much as I love it, if I was a studio executive, I'm not sure I would have greenlit it, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's going to make any money, but I'm going to be there. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Keeping up with the category of movies that got made that we love so much, we can't wait for the next one. Rebel Moon. Okay, maybe I'm being a bit facetious. Rebel Moon is a pile of garbage buried under the corpse of a dead moose. I mean, it was just, it's hard for me to imagine things that were worse than Rebel Moon, which quite frankly was really surprising for me. I never thought Rebel Moon looked great, but up until Rebel Moon, there had only ever been one Zack Snyder film that I didn't like. And that was Sucker Punch. That's it. I have liked all the way up to loved every one of his other movies, whether it's, 300, Guardians of the Owls of Gaul, obviously his DC stuff, obviously Man of Steel, which is, I think, the most underrated comic book film of all time. But yeah, make no mistake about it, Rebel Moon is some of the worst, quote unquote, cinematic refuse I have ever had the displeasure of watching.
I'm just glad we get to talk about it some more.
Yeah.
Don't mince words, Sean. What do you really think?
Get at what you're really thinking about it. Now, that being said, they're supposed to make, Rob, if you recall, Netflix and Zack Snyder were supposed to make this huge cinematic universe out of Rebel Moon, right? That we're going to get Rebel Moon 3 and 4 was going to come at some point.
Oh boy.
We were going to get the animated movies and a series and all that kind of stuff. And there are now word going around, according to a report like this in Screen Rant, that suggests Rebel Moon 3 gets uncertain update from Star amid rumors that Zack Snyder's franchise has been canceled and Cancellation. Now, they did talk to one of the actors in it. I forgot which one
Patrick
was
Lewis.
it. No. Oh, yes. Thank you. That's who it was. Patrick Lewis. And he said this when asked about what's the status of Rebel Moon 3. Because remember, Zack Snyder has said we are still going to do Rebel Moon 3. That's what he said. And the actor said, I have not heard any updates. But again, something I would be honored to do. It was such an incredible experience working with Zack. And that's what I hear from every actor who works with him. And that whole cast and crew was one of the best experiences I've had on a set. So I would be thrilled if they brought me back for the next movie or whatever they're doing. But no, I haven't heard anything. Just waiting by the phone. We'll see. I've got to really apply this now. Like, put me in coach. Now, of course, the critic ratings on Rebel Moons were something like 24% and 16%, which is roughly 23% and 15% too much. So I mean, and listen now, the Rebel Moon movies are now, it's a joke in Hollywood. Like it's the punchline to a joke now. So they're talking about the words going around is that maybe it's been canceled. Should they do a Rebel Moon 3? I actually think they should. Now, I know that sounds surprising. John, you're just talking about how Rebel Moons 1 and 2 are complete garbage and crap and, dog innards, and it is. Then why on earth would you say you'd be up for a Rebel Moon 3? The reason I'd be up for a Rebel Moon 3 is because I know Zack Snyder is capable of better. I know Zack Snyder's capable of better. I've liked too many of his other movies. And yeah, hey, listen, Michael Jordan throws up a 3. I've seen Michael Jordan throw an air ball up at 3. Does that mean I don't think he should take another shot? I do, because I know he's capable of making it. And would I be excited for a Rebel Moon 3? No, I wouldn't. I'm not going to lie to you. I would not be excited for it, but I wouldn't think it would be the worst thing in the world if, having heard all the feedback, and I think even Zack Snyder probably understands, I swung and missed. Happens to the best of filmmakers. Happens to the best. That maybe he'd be able to, get back into his office, sit down, lean into the few things they might have done okay, improve on the vast number of things they did terribly, and try to salvage this. Because I'll tell you what, Rob, as bad as the movies are, and they're awful, I can't even put into words how bad they are, but the universe he was kind of creating had potential to be interesting. The mythology of the history of the robotic wars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He did not do a bad job of creating the sandbox. Just didn't do much with it. And if they were to say he'd do another one, as surprising as it sounds, I'd be down for it to see if he could kind of resuscitate it. I don't know. What do you think about the comments? Do you think we're going to get a Rebel Moon 3? And maybe more importantly, do you think we should get a Rebel Moon 3?
Well, I can't go with you down that road.
You are going where I cannot follow.
But to be, I appreciate your optimism, and maybe a third movie could be what the dude would say, the Big Lebowski would say, that maybe the third film will really tie the franchise together. I mean, we did a great Designing Hollywood episode on this show. And we had multiple people, and there was so much great work that was put into this franchise. It's not like you didn't see how much effort went into making these movies, because obviously a lot of effort did. And the movies are certainly beautifully made, and there's a lot of incredible design work. And I think it's just, maybe if Zack Snyder had a writer that he worked with, maybe they could do something. I would always say it's always better to go make something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Why this might be? I mean, it could be the Jaws 3D of the franchise, and that would make Rebel Moons 1 and 2 better.
It'd make them at least seem better.
But yeah, I mean, I look at, like you. I mean, I love Zack Snyder's visual style. You and I have been.
He's a wonderful visual storyteller.
Look, I mean, I've often said the Wagnerian graphics and the design that he brought to Man of Steel and his entire, I like his Man of Steel franchise. I've often said that there's no joy in it. I mean, and people don't quite get what I say. I mean, it's very operatic and grandiose, and I love watching that. But, there's still a jar of pee put on the desk next in front of Holly Hunter. I'm like, that's not cool. But so I would watch Rebel.
That was Grandma's peach tea, Rob.
It was yes,
Grandma's peach tea.
It's true. But I watch both versions of Rebel Moon. So I've watched Rebel Moon 4 times.
Why?
I had to see the director's
You know what?
cut.
I got a vasectomy, and I decided, let's do that again. It was so much fun.
And the thing is, if he made Rebel Moon 3, that means there would be the original cut and the director's cut. So I would have to watch 2 more Rebel Moons.
How pathetic was that they tried to recreate the Snyder cut thing with the whole, now you got Rebel Moon, now you're going to get Rebel Moon, the
It was so
director's cut.
prefabricated.
Dude, it's like you can't make
So fabricated. That's exactly the right
you
word.
can't set out to make a cult film. You can't set out to do the Snyder Cut. It just has to happen organically. And I really wish people would stop coming after me about Zack Snyder's Superman.
I
Every day on my feed and social media, my God, they're at least dedicated.
I just think Man of Steel's the most underrated comic book film of all time. And anyway, guys,
It's a great science
question
fiction
is for you. What do you think about this? The rumors are going around that Rebel Moon 3 has been canceled, but Zack Snyder said, no, I'm going to make it. Maybe they will. And you know what? It may shock you to hear, but I would be down for checking it out because he swung and missed a couple of times, but I really like his stuff.
I have a Rebel Moon action figure.
Which one?
The robot.
It's the one that Ray
It's a
got.
cool design.
I have the robot. I didn't take it out of the box. It's 12 scale, not 6 scale.
Okay.
I don't know why I have it.
Ray
I
gave
bought
it
it
to
for
you.
you. I bought it for you. Remember?
That's
On
what
your
I got
birthday.
from you. Ray bought it for me.
Because you're a big fan.
That's what.
Because you're a big
But I will tell you.
It was for your fourth watching. You won that. That was your prize.
commemorate your fourth viewing.
You gave it to me. I forgot where it came from. I'm like, why do I have
givebacks.
this?
No givebacks. No givebacks.
No, it's in an esteemed place in my studio.
No regifting. Anyway, guys, question is for you. How would you feel about it? Do you think we're going to get Rebel Moon 3, or do you think they've actually pulled the plug on it? And if they did do it, would you be down for giving it a shot? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still have a couple of other things we need to talk about here today, including it looks like we've got our Dumbledore for the new Harry Potter series. None other than Academy Award nominated multi-Emmy winning actor John Lithgow, who is, the last I checked, not English. You're going to be doing that. Also, it's official now, even though the critic rating has gone up, Captain America 4 out of 35 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies is now the 33rd on the list, the third worst critically reviewed film. Does it deserve it? We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends over at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. All right, sports fans, All-Star Weekend is almost here, and if you're not on PrizePicks, you're seriously missing out. It's the easiest and most fun way to turn your basketball knowledge into real money. With over 10 million users already playing, why not you? PrizePicks is a skill-based daily fantasy game. You just pick more or less on player projections. You think Steph Curry's hitting more than 5 threes or Giannis dropping more than 35 points? Make your picks in under 60 seconds, and if you hit, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. Ann and I have been using PrizePicks on football all year, but now we're switching over to basketball, and we like Jason Tatum getting more than 29 points. And now that Luka Doncic is on the Lakers, I'm going to take over on 8 assists. And the best part is, even if you miss one pick, PrizePicks Flex Play lets you still cash out. And hey, don't forget about Taco Tuesday. Each week, PrizePicks discounts select player projections by up to 25%, giving you even more chances to score big. Download the app today and use the code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use that code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, HBO and Max are doing a Harry Potter series. And while initially a lot of people went, that's stupid, maybe I was one of them, a lot of people have kind of come around on it. I personally started to come around on a little bit when they started announcing who the showrunners and producers were going to be. It's like, oh, this is the best of the best. This is like the best people they're getting working on this. And then I started hearing from some people that every agency was calling into HBO Max trying to get their top list clients on this show. And then we started hearing about a bunch of casting rumors and all that kind of stuff. Well, now this is the most definitive thing we've got, as Deadline is reporting that John Lithgow, multi-time Oscar-nominated actor, multi-time Emmy-winning actor, is near a deal to play Dumbledore in HBO's Harry Potter series. Let's read what they had to say. A beloved actor is poised to play a beloved Harry Potter character. 6-time Emmy winner John Lithgow is in final negotiations to portray Professor Albus Dumbledore in HBO's high-profile series adaptation of the hugely popular fantasy books, sources tell Deadline. HBO declined to comment, saying, "We appreciate that such a high-profile series will draw a lot of rumor and speculation. As we make our way through pre-production, we will only confirm details as we finalize deals," which is fair. Totally fair enough for them to do and say. Now, this would become the first official casting. And if you're coming out of the gate with John Lithgow, you're off to a damn good start. And him playing Dumbledore, perfect. He'll be great in the role. There were some other characters, there's some other actors that had been mentioned over the past few months that we've commented on that I thought sounded great as well. But this would be the best of them, I think. To get somebody like him on board would be insane. Here's the interesting thing to me, is that there had always been this long-standing rule that J.K. Rowling had said only British or UK, Irish actors can play these roles. And so there would be a number of casting speculations and rumors come out that to which a lot of people would then shoot down and said, nope, because that dude's American, whatever. Okay. Clearly that rule has softened by getting a John Lithgow, which is kind of appropriate because his most recent Emmy came from playing Winston Churchill.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you play Churchill, all bets are off.
Yeah, if you can play Churchill, you can play Dumbledore. So I thought that was really interesting. And it opens up the floodgates now for speculation and casting possibilities for all the other roles. I still think they're going to go from the UK for the kids and stuff like that. I think you're going to see a lot of UK actors in there, but I think it kind of opens up the spectrum now about what actors and from where could possibly be cast in this show. Let's get back to the show itself. The whole premise of it is that each book is going to be a complete season, which means this show, and they've been propping this.
Yeah.
So, each season, each book will be a full season of the show. So, which has made them prop up a lot, saying our show is going to be able to go way more into the books than the movies ever did. To which, remember, the Chris Columbus, the director of the first couple of them, came out and said, yeah, this is a great idea. He said there was so much we couldn't touch on in the books because we only had one movie to do each book. This one's going to be an entire season to cover each book. There's going to be characters that we never got to see on screen, sub-storylines we never got to see on screen. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Rob, at the end of the day, this thing's going to work or not work based on the kids they cast, and particularly the trio, and how good their chemistry is. Like, I don't know how and what knight demigod they worshipped to end up with Rupert Grint and Emma Stone, or not Emma Stone, Emma
Watson.
Yeah,
Watson, and Daniel Radcliffe, because, like, my God, the magic they captured getting those perfect three together. They're gonna have to replicate that. And no matter who the three kids are, I guarantee you right now, mark this down. No matter who the three kids are, you're gonna get a cacophony of, they're nearly the right three, no matter who or how perfect they are. But at any rate, this sounds great. Rob, what do you think about the casting? It sounds like they're in final negotiations for Jonathan Lithgow.
John Lithgow is one of my, I consider him a character actor, but he's one of my favorite actors. He was in one of my favorite movies of all time, All That Jazz. He was incredible in The World According to Garp, directed by George R. Hill. I loved him as that character. He wouldn't even get cast in that role today, but I think he was nominated for an Academy Award for that. He's just a great character actor. Third Rock from the Sun, you know,
so good.
He was so good. He's just a great actor, and I think him as Dumbledore. I mean, I can see it, man. I can see it. I think he's going to be great. I think what you
Put
said,
the hair on him,
yeah, dude,
beard
and
on him.
he'll put a spin on it. He'll have it's great casting. And look, if that's their first, you know, if that's what they're shooting for, you know, finding great character actors that can bring something, I think that we're going to get something special. I think John, the characters they cast, like you were saying, the three kids, I don't think there's ever going to be 3 kids they've spent more time casting
Oh yeah.
than
Yeah,
the
than in
leads in
this.
that Harry Potter show. I think that whoever they get, people will bitch and moan and complain, but I would say we're in for something special because I don't think any product in the history of entertainment will have more scrutinized 3 leads
Sure.
than this TV series. They'd have to. So I'm excited. I'm excited. You know what? I'm excited for this show.
You know what's funny? Jonathan Lithgow is a guy who seems like every 5 to 10 years plays a new tentpole character that you think everybody will remember. Like, go back to 1984, World According to Garp, right? In which he was nominated for an Academy Award and stuff like that. Harry and the Hendersons, the dad from Footloose. I mean, jump now like way forward. Then all of a sudden, the first time I saw him as a bad guy in what was the
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger with Sylvester
All
Stallone,
right.
right? It's like, wait a minute, that's Harry
Directed
Henderson.
by Dieter Bastian's favorite director, Rennie Harlan.
Then you move all the way up, and then also like his real pop cultural zeitgeist moment, the Trinity Killer in Dexter, which I believe he won one of his Emmys was for portraying that. And then I think he won another Emmy for playing Winston Churchill. And now he's in Conclave, which a lot of people thought he might get a Best Supporting Actor nomination. I mean, he just seems to be able to every 5 to 10 years play some kind of role that everybody goes, well, this will be what he's remembered for. And then he's done it like 15 times. He's so diverse. He's so fantastic. And again, if they start off their Harry Potter casting with this guy, what can I tell you?
I think
You're just off to the right start.
I think he's a really nice way to bridge the gap between the Richard Harris and the Michael Gambon versions.
Yeah.
Because I can see him giving some gravitas to each of those performances.
Yeah.
Maybe it makes it a little Jude Law,
Yet
little
making
Jude
his
Law
own.
in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be great. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? According to Deadline, they're in final negotiations now with Jonathan Lithgow to play the role of Dumbledore. If it works out, I think it's brilliant. I don't think he's the only guy who could play. I think there would be other great choices too, but this is definitely one of the guys who would be a great choice. Whatever you guys feel about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. By the way, just a side note, I can't believe I forgot that somebody in the live chat just reminded me. You left out talking about those tentpole marquee characters. Lord Farquaad. Lord Farquaad in Shrek. How could I forget that one?
Animation's not real.
It's not a real thing. All right. With that down, guys,
Triggered so many people.
I know, Brad.
let's move on to this, shall we? So today, as Rob mentioned earlier, is indeed game day because we're going to go see Captain America: Brave New World a little bit later this afternoon.
It's a cool poster.
As of right now, actually, that's a great poster. I love that poster.
Yeah.
As of this moment, now yesterday was 40 something. As of right now, it is 51%, which means you can say that a majority of the critics like it.
Hey,
By 1%,
that win you
The
an
American
election.
electorate, right
but
there.
a majority of the critics like this movie. It goes from majority to minority. It's just moving pretty quick up and down. But regardless, I still haven't seen it myself. We're going to run out and go see it a little bit later today. However, it already has pretty much secured a dubious place for itself.
No.
When you look at now, this will be the 35th Marvel Cinematic Universe movie released. And when you go down the critic ratings on all of them, right there at the top, Black Panther, 96%, Avengers Endgame, 94%, the first Iron Man, 94%, Thor Ragnarok, which I love that movie, 93%, on and on and on. We're going to have to go down a while before you get to Captain America: Brave New World. As a matter of fact, you got to go down to number 33 out of 35. The only two below it are Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which I don't think is the worst MCU film, but it was not good. It was a bad film.
I
Also
like
below
Eternals.
it are Eternals. I really like Eternals.
I do too.
It's kind of like Age of Ultron to me, that the more I watch it, the more I appreciate
Yep.
it. So, but
Come at me, bro.
it is what it is, whatever. But they're now in the spot number 33 is Captain America: Brave New World behind the Marvels.
Oof.
Which, by the way, I unapologetically, I like the Marvels. I don't think it was really good. I don't think it was exceptionally good. I got a kick out of it. I thought it was mid-tier MCU. I thought it was all right. But Captain America sits below the Marvels. Now, first of all, it should be pointed out, how many cinematic universes would have like 35 films in them? And to say your number 33 one is still over 50%. That's crazy.
There's no Jaws 3D in the bunch.
Nope. I mean, the old DCEU is looking at this list and going, 53%, that would be in our top 5. So, I mean, so there's that. This is not the start that they were hoping for. Again, Rob, yesterday we talked about this. We said, I never once in all of the buildup and all the marketing going towards this movie ever got the sense that Marvel was particularly excited about this movie or particularly thrilled with their final product. I mean, they soldiered on, they went out there, they promoted the film, but I never got the sense that again, I could be right or wrong. This is just my perception. I could be way off, but I've always got the sense that they've been way more excited about Daredevil. I'm getting the sense that they're far more excited about Thunderbolts. And I'm definitely getting the sense that they're far more excited for Fantastic Four. And I've had my doubts about the movie just because I just the whole premise, like what's wrong with Falcon? Why do you think Falcon is so uncool that the only way to make Sam Wilson cool is to call him Captain America? It's kind of like the same thing to me. Remember how I felt about Spider-Man? I love the 3 Spider-Man films. Don't get me wrong. Homecoming, No Way Home, Far From Home. I love all those movies, but I always kind of felt it was a little bit of a disrespect on Spider-Man that you felt that the only way to make Spider-Man cool is to make him Iron Man Jr. and give him an Iron Man suit. I kind of feel that way a little bit about this. I think Sam Wilson's a great character. I think Anthony Mackie is a tremendous actor, but why is Falcon only cool if you call him Fat Cap? Anyway, that all aside, I've had my doubts, my trepidations. I got more encouraged when I heard that they were doing those reshoots. That made me encouraged to see that they were changing directions. Giancarlo Esposito's in there, Harrison Ford. But you know what? Before the show started, Jonathan raised a really good point. Jonathan said, you mentioned we were talking about with Red Hulk.
Yeah. I said they put so much effort into pushing Red Hulk when we all knew it was going to be a third act thing.
Yeah, like why are you leaning so much into Red Hulk?
And they're making this thing seem like Thanos, and it's like I just wanted it to be a political thriller. I would have been fine with Red Hulk not even being in it.
Although I like that Red Hulk.
I don't mind it, but it's
because it's Thunderbolt.
You have to do better, Jonathan.
Right.
I bet. Did I expect it to be third worst? 33 out of 35. This is not where they want to go, especially coming out of the triumph that was Deadpool and Wolverine. Right? They wanted to follow up stronger than with this. But anyway, Rob, you see where Captain America: Brave New World. You're seeing it later tonight. Ray and I are going to go see it at 3:00 this afternoon.
I think this might be one of the first times we were all seeing it on this.
Jonathan's going to go see it a little bit later today. We'll have our own opinion about the movie, but for now, I mean, none of us expected this to be in the top 5 MCU movies, but it's this low. What do you think?
Look, political thrillers are my genre. I love political thrillers. I love Anthony Mackie in this role. Hell, I even love, I have a lot of Anthony Mackie, Falcon, and now Captain America hot toys. I mean, I love the character and I love him. And I want this movie. You know what? Even if this movie is Jaws the Revenge level, and
now we're moving to Jaws 4.
We're moving to Jaws 4. If it's Jaws the Revenge,
we've gone
level,
right by Jaws 3D.
Yeah, I mean, at least Jaws 3D had 3D glasses.
Remember the tagline for that movie?
Of Jaws, this time it's personal.
This time it's personal.
Because
how does a shark make personal?
It's just
Jaws had a sidearm in that one.
I do like what Michael Caine said about that movie. It bought his house.
Yeah,
or at least he bought his.
What
he
did you think about
he
Jaws?
bought his mom's house.
His mom's
Bought his
house.
mom's house.
It enabled me to buy my mother a house.
Yeah,
that's what I think about Jaws 4.
But with the reshoots, Anthony Mackie got paid. But look, I want this movie to be good. I'm walking into the theater hoping I know that I will enjoy myself. I might feel disappointed. I'm not saying I won't, but there's enough in this movie. I've seen enough clips of this movie, like when he's talking to Harrison Ford, the president, and just that exchange. I could just sit there and watch the president and Captain America talk to each other. You're no Steve Rogers. Just that alone is going to entertain me. And I want this movie to be good. And I'm going to walk in thinking it's going to be good.
Yeah, listen, again, because of where I've been on the film, my expectations, look, I said this before. Give me some good fun action.
Yeah.
Give me some really good character moments between Sam and Thunderbolt Ross. Make Betty Ross's appearance in it mean something. Give Giancarlo Esposito some cool lines to say. And I don't need it to be Winter Soldier. Not every movie's going to be Winter Soldier. I understand that. Just make it kind of fun. And if I come out going, you know what? If you can give me this as a bridge to get us to Daredevil, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four, and not derail everything,
Right.
we'll see. You know, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think this is going to be like Venom. I think audiences are going to like this movie more than the critics do. Again, I'm saying that having not seen the movie, I'm just wildly guessing. Okay. I'm just making a wild guess. I'm just getting the feeling this is going to be one of those movies that the audiences like more than the critics do. Maybe end up with like an 80% audience score, 75% audience score, something like that. Although, stay tuned for my out of the theater review. I might come out and go, guys, this is Craven all over again. I don't know. Sorry, what are you going to say, Jonathan?
Well, I was going to say this might be one of those that the audience like want to grip onto. Like the critics and the audience are always so far apart, and they really are not. But they'll find those rare examples where they are and be like, see.
I want to highlight something. A viewer in the live chat, which to me is really a stupid way of thinking. Kingsis in the live chat saying accepting the bare minimum is crazy. Not every movie is going to be The Godfather.
Yeah.
And to say no, it's not accepting. Like, there are so many people who want the MCU to fail that if it's not Civil War, they want you to call garbage, but it's not garbage. We live in this stupid society today. I've been saying this going back to the AMC days, that everything's either has to be a 10 or it's a 0.
Right.
Like everybody out there, it's like, oh, I love this movie. It's a 10. Like back when I still gave scores to movie, which I haven't done for years. But back when I used to give scores for movie, like I really enjoyed a movie. And you know what? That's like a 7.5. I like that. Well, why won't you give it a 10? Why did you hate it? Like everything is 10 or 0. There's going to be a lot of movies that will come out somewhere in the middle. You know why I'll eat at Carl Jr.'s once every 2 months? Because I don't need every
double Western
meal.
bacon.
Yeah, that's right.
Is
Double
awesome.
Western bacon. That's
Greatest
damn right.
burger
Because I
ever.
don't need every meal to be a Ruth's Chris filet mignon.
Extra barbecue sauce.
I mean, I want Ruth's Chris filet mignon. I want that.
Me
yes.
too.
I'll take the burger.
But yeah,
Why'd
but
you have to
every
bring that
once in a while, if a movie ends up being okay, not bad, listen, I'll take that 10 times out of 10 than coming out of the theater with a Quantum Mania, or coming out of the theater with a Kraven the Hunter, or coming out of the theater with a Wonder Woman 2, or would you rather have, no, then okay, well, I'll take this sometimes, and sometimes give me something better. I don't know. Like, how do you see that?
Dude, I think you're exactly right. I mean, look, when I was growing up, I had a friend, we were in high school, his name was Adam Carl, and he and I would go and purposefully try and see the worst movie that came out that weekend. And we would go, and sometimes we would walk into what we thought was going to be the worst movie ever. And it turned out to be great. Now, not Godfather great, but great at scale. And one of those movies that was Night of the Comet.
Right?
You ever seen Night of the Comet?
Oh, yeah.
man.
You bring this one up a lot.
And Night of the Comet is not, it's not fucking Alien. It's not. It's Night of the Comet. But it was wildly entertaining. But the very best one we ever saw was Tough Turf with James Spader and Robert Downey Jr. and Olivia Berich and Kim Richards. But that's the thing. Stone Cold, which I talk about.
Stone Cold, baby.
Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth and Lance Henriksen is a great movie at scale for what it is. So look, the problem is the highs of the MCU are so high. The Avengers movies are some of the great, not just superhero, but fantasy films, science fiction films. They're some of the most entertaining, fantastical, cinefantastic ever made.
Yeah.
But I think the joys of this movie can be had, and by the way, when Marvel movies are bad, they're bad. They're like bad. And the thing is they have so many resources, it's so disappointing when they are. Because even Thor the Dark World is fun to watch. It's not
Maybe.
Oh, come on.
I'm not a big fan of Thor: The Dark
I would
World.
watch
That's
it. It notches up a little
Okay,
bit, but I'm
maybe
not-
Iron Man 2. When I see
I mean, it's better than Craven.
yeah, when I see Rhodey and Tony Stark back to back fighting those,
It's a good scene. That's a good scene. I'll give
there's
it
so
that.
much
Yes.
in Iron Man 2 that I like, you know, and it's not great, but I like it. I watch it. It's entertaining. The Marvels does not entertain me.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder made me want to stick my head in the toilet and flush it over and over and over again. I hated that film, but I'm hoping this movie will be good, and I want it to be good. I want to walk in knowing I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Why do people like? I don't like this pre-hatred culture we live in. It's gonna suck. Well, what's okay? Go watch Stone Cold at scale. That movie is not a great movie, and it stars Brian Bosworth, and he has an alligator. Whatever. It's the opening scene alone.
sold.
So
Watch it.
Done.
Hey man, that not the comments. The same actress was in Last Starfighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
His girlfriend in Last Starfighter.
By the way, still the movie that needs to
That's
be
not in the
remade.
comic.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not in the comic.
Last Starfighter needs to be remade. 100% has to be remade. But that's another topic for another time. So like, again, all I'm saying is it's just a matter of saying, look, you just recognize when movies are true greatness.
Yeah.
When movies are crap, but you also got to recognize when they're neither. You got to recognize when, you know what? They shot for the stars, they didn't make it, but they still ended up giving me something that I enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It just, this whole idea that if it's not a 10, it's a 0.
Like Live
It's
Free and Die
God.
Hard, or Live Free or Die Hard. The fourth Die Hard movie. I like that movie.
I got a bit of a
Timothy
kick out of
Olyphant.
it.
It's not great.
Nope.
It's no Die Hard with a Vengeance.
It's still my favorite.
Let's say this movie.
Still my favorite.
'Cause
Die
it's
Hard with
great.
Vengeance. I love that one.
Let's say we don't.
Not Hey Zeus.
Let's say we don't like this movie, right? Like
Right.
we just don't like it. And I don't think it's going to hinder my excitement for the Thunderbolts. Still, I think the Thunderbolts have done well in marketing, right? So it's like, you know how we were saying, oh, if this movie is really bad, it could possibly affect the next movie.
Yeah, and it could affect it. I don't think it'll kill it, but I think it could affect it.
So how do you feel about that? Like, what if you leave this movie like just like?
There's two thoughts that will be in my head, because that's a good question. The two thoughts that will be in my head if I come out of this and feel like the way I felt coming out of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. God, I hope I don't feel the same way I did when I came out of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But if I do, there are going to be two things. One I'm going to think is that Thunderbolts has a much better director.
Right.
So I'll rest on that, because that, again, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, is they have a much better director. So I'm going to lean on that. And I'm also going to lean on, Rob, you and I were talking about this the other day, about how Captain America Brave New World was kind of like the last, it and Daredevil are the last remnants of MCU projects that got started under the Chapek era.
Yeah.
With the as much as you can, as fast as you can directive that he gave the MCU. And Thunderbolts was made completely on the opposite side, out of that era. So if I come out hating Captain America 4 the way I hated it, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I felt that same way, I'm going to still maintain my enthusiasm for Thunderbolts, because better director, completely out of the shadow of the Chapek era.
That's
So
Jack,
that'll be what I think.
that's Schaefer, right? Jack
Jack Steffen.
Jack Schaefer. I want to say Jack Schaefer.
So I don't know how is it going, but Ray brings up a good question, Rob. How will let's say you come out of Captain America tonight and have the same feeling you had coming out of Thor: Love and Thunder or Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania or whatever. How
I don't
does
think
that
that's possible.
how does that impact the rose color or lack thereof color glasses when you look forward to the next three projects: Daredevil, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts?
I have to be honest. I mean, I love the MCU. I really love the MCU. The first 23 movies, ending with Far From Home, those 23 movies, and I've always maintained that Infinity War and Endgame are two of the most wildly entertaining fantasy films ever made. It's gonna bum me out, dude. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I was told by somebody about the Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom thing way before it was announced. And I can tell you this, they've got a really, it's good. At least what was described to me at the time, it was jaw-dropping. I'm like, I will buy into that. I'm like, it's never going to happen. It is happening. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Doomsday. I'm excited for Secret Wars. I really am. However, I think the entire MCU has been diminished It has, and it has been diminished as a brand and for the entire movie going audience. And Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, I think, are crucial. Deadpool and Wolverine was an outlier because it's really the end of the Fox era. It wasn't really an MCU movie.
But it was an MCU movie.
I mean,
and
kinda.
The one thing I always said about Deadpool and Wolverine was that it changed the general feeling in the room about the MCU. It elevated the feel in the room for the MCU.
It did.
At least temporarily.
Yes.
Temporarily.
But to me, I've always seen that Deadpool to me is a Ryan Reynolds joint. It was he brought it into existence. He made it happen. I mean, look, you got to give that guy credit. He was in Blade 3 and still brought Wesley Snipes back and put him in that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's a mensch. And we're getting a Blade hot toy again, so that's good.
Just
but
no movie.
what's that?
Just no movie.
Yeah, well, just no movie. That's why I think the MCU really needs some wins. Not Deadpool and Wolverine was a great win, but I see it as an outlier.
But they need a winning streak.
That's what they need.
Because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a win, right?
It was a win.
WandaVision was a win. Shang-Chi was a win. Deadpool and Wolverine were a win. But the problem is, unlike in Phases 1, Phases 2, Phases 3, they have not strung together winning streaks. And they need, now that we're completely on the opposite side of the Chapek era, because that's not going to be an excuse for them anymore.
No.
They need to start stringing together some winning
and
streaks.
they also
rather
need a
than just the odd
direction.
win.
They need a direction.
That's what I
I
was
mean,
gonna bring up.
part of the things from the end of Iron Man 1, the post-credit scene, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. Sam Jackson as Nick Fury. You know, that was awesome. So immediately from that first movie, we had a direction. What direction? They're going 5 ways till Sunday. I mean, it's been 3 years since Eternals or whatever, and we're finally getting around to talking about, oh, there's a giant celestial in the ocean. I mean, that's one of the things I'm interested to see. I just want to see how they discuss it. How do the people of Earth, how is their worldview shattered by a gigantic thing that was emerging that was going to destroy the planet on the heels of Thanos snapping everybody back? It's like nobody seems to care. Arishem the Judge is in space, and the people of Earth haven't really addressed it. Like, we get the Marvels instead. No one's like, there's a celestial. He was going to, the world was going to crack like an egg. But nope. Somebody, the Eternals, which nobody seems to know who they are, froze it in the middle as it's coming out. And you're like, the MCU would not have done this in their first 23 movies. And I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat going, for 3 or 4 years now, going, is anyone going to talk about this? Did anybody see Arishem the Judge, this gigantic creature?
This came out and say, oh, by the way, I'm going to return for judgment. All right.
No one seems to care.
Yeah,
well, there was a
Tuesday.
headline in this movie. Well, somebody, okay. I mean, these are
She-Hulk.
and She-Hulk. If somebody mentioned it, I mean, it's like, come on, man. This was a universe that was so beautifully constructed.
Well, they're going to acknowledge it now.
Also,
We're going way beyond the topic.
I know.
at
right,
hand.
right. I was gonna bring up also. Let's say Marvel's plans were to make Sam Wilson the leader. Would the
This could
outcome of this
derail it.
movie
This could derail
change
it.
derail it?
It could. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but it could.
I'm because Captain America: The First Avenger, it made 370 million.
But remember, that was before the comic book movie genre became the dominant box office presence, right? That was one of the movies that laid the foundation and the groundwork for making comic book movies the dominant presence.
So-
and it was like the
office.
least grossing.
So would
of
Winter Soldier-
Iron Man, Thor, and that.
Yeah.
Winter
Because it
Soldier's
was a
total
period
be
piece.
more of what we're looking for because it made 714 million. Winter Soldier.
I don't think it has to be. I don't think its box office needs to be compared. Like, it's got to win the audience over.
Okay.
Like they want it to be profitable. Clearly, you got to
Yeah.
make it profitable, right? So you probably want this thing. This thing probably needs to make somewhere in the neighborhood of $550 million to be profitable, which is a crazy amount of money just to break even. So I think they can do that. But the important thing is it's got to win the audience to it. Because if it doesn't, it could derail their plans a little bit. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. We'll see where
If
they
they
go.
win the crowd,
If
they
you win the
freedom,
crowd, you win
MCU
Rome.
freedom. I will say this, Sean. I am very excited to go and see this movie tonight.
It's unfortunate.
I'm way more excited than Marvel's. I'm way more excited than Thor: Love and Thunder.
It's unfortunate
I'm excited to go.
we're not hearing much about the Falcon, the new Falcon, either from the reviews and stuff.
Oh, and they've basically just brushed over the new Falcon, which
Yeah.
is fine because it's not called Captain America and Falcon. It's called
Right.
Captain America. They're leaning heavily in the marketing on Hulk, Red Hulk. So that's kind of not made room for anybody else, but
Yeah.
we will see how it turns out. Guys,
Yep.
question is for you. You got your tickets to go see Captain America 4? I do. I'm going to go see it in 3 hours and 10 minutes is when I'm going to go see it. And I'm really curious to see how it turns out. Do you have them? I am surprised. I didn't expect it to be in the top 10 critically rated MCU movies, but I didn't expect it to be in the bottom 3. Are you surprised by that? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. By the way, guys, just to let you know, this Sunday, we will be doing an open spoiler discussion for Captain America Brave New World. So if you go out to see it today, Friday, Saturday, you got a couple of days to make sure you see it first. And then on Sunday, we're going to have our first open spoiler discussion that we've had in a while. So I hope that you guys get a chance to see it, and we'll get together and talk about it in all spoilery detail on Sunday. All right. With that down, guys, it's time for us to move on to the main part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take a quick moment and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at NordVPN. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, NordVPN. All right, let's be real. There's nothing worse than wanting to stream your favorite show or watch a live game only to find out it's blocked in your country. But guess what? With NordVPN, that is never a problem. With just one click, you can switch your virtual location and access content from anywhere in the world. I have loved using NordVPN. Whether I'm traveling and using public Wi-Fi or just shopping online, NordVPN keeps my personal info safe and private. By switching my location, I can even save money on flights, hotels, and subscriptions. It's like a cheat code for getting the best deals. NordVPN is the fastest VPN in the world, so there's no buffering when I'm streaming. Plus, their threat protection feature blocks malware, trackers, and phishing attempts, keeping my devices safe 24/7. And with just one account, I can protect up to 10 devices, so my whole setup is covered. So to get the best discount on your NordVPN plan, head to nordvpn.com/John Campea, and our link will even give you 4 extra months for free on the 2-year plan. Plus, there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Links in the description. Check it out now. And thank you to our friends at NordVPN for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get over to your live questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Daisy May says, hey guys, John, I saw your Captain America live yesterday, and I just have to say that I do agree that it was strange that Disney would spend that time on Thunderbolts rather than Cap. I do think they probably loved that movie more.
Let me specify, though, because I think I probably didn't communicate that right. It's not that I was surprised that they spent time promoting Thunderbolts instead of Captain America. I'm surprised they promoted Thunderbolts and spent no time on Captain America. Like, I thought there would have been room to promote both, especially considering Captain America is coming out this week, right? So I just thought it was interesting that the only marketing they did was for Thunderbolts at Super Bowl and not a peep of Captain America. That's why I didn't think they should have not promoted Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is coming out in 3 months, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
It's actually not far away. It's time to start really promoting that movie. So it's not a matter that I thought they should have replaced the Thunderbolts ad with the Captain America ad. It's that I'm kind of surprised they didn't do both. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got a $20 tip from Maria.
Oh, thank you, Maria. Appreciate that.
So this one's in Ray's wheelhouse. Hi, John and team. So glad to see Ray. I recently finished Invasion Season 2 on Apple TV. Yeah,
wow.
see?
I didn't even know they made a season 2.
Yeah, they did.
And wow, I'm completely hooked. Any updates when Season 3 is coming? I tried looking into info, but all I could find was that it was announced a year ago.
First of all, I didn't even know they did a season 2.
I know, right?
I so love someone else watched it. It feels like I can't talk to anybody about it because no one else watched it. Jonathan, you haven't even given it a try?
No, man, I went and did Silo instead.
Yeah, I tried.
I will try it. I haven't tried it.
Give it a chance, please.
No, I'm gonna.
Second season was really good.
Have
really
you heard
liked
anything about season 3?
Nothing at all. And it's just one of those things that I just leave to Apple and just when it pops up. Just like season 2 popped up. I didn't know it was coming out. And I just started watching it. So yeah, I haven't heard anything.
All right, what's next?
We got Lee Crow. Wait a second. I don't think the Superman popcorn bucket, or you don't think the Superman popcorn bucket will be Corn Sweat's bust with his mouth wide open?
Yeah, probably not. You know, if anything, here's my prediction. And I'm basing this on nothing. I've been given no information. Imagine this. as a popcorn bucket, but it's shaped in that triangle-like shape of the Superman logo. And it's tall and shaped like the logo. And then the top of it would be the Superman crest, and the top of it opens like this. For pop. That's going to be my prediction of what the Superman popcorn bucket will be. Again, I'm basing that on no insider information. That's just my guess. All right, what's next?
Fry Guy says, hey, John, if Thunderbolts changes their team name at the end of the movie without using the Avengers name, how about an amalgamation? The Dark West Avengers. I don't know if they're good names, but it's proof of concept. I don't think they're going to do anything with West Coast or Dark Avengers or any of that.
No,
because nobody would know that. Not many people know those references.
No, nobody would know the references, so wouldn't care anything. But you know what? I think they're still going to be called the Thunderbolts at the end of the movie.
So this is what I think. My prediction is they're going to accept the Thunderbolts, and that asterisk will disappear. Like at the end, like it'll be like Thunderbolts, and then that asterisk just disappears.
But here's the main reason why I think they keep the name. It's not even an in-movie reason. It's an outside the movie reason.
Right.
Marketing.
Yeah.
You're now spending millions, tens of millions of dollars marketing this movie, The Thunderbolts. You will, if you just suddenly change the name of the team.
Yeah, that's weird.
You've thrown all that money away moving forward. I think for marketing and IP recognition and all that kind of stuff, I still think this team is going to be called Thunderbolts moving forward. But I still don't really know what the asterisk means, but we'll find out. All right, what's next?
The Great Hambino says, sup, big dogs. Who do you think has suffered the most trauma in all Marvel movies? Logan, Nebula, Thor, Bucky, Rocket, or Scarlet Witch? I think, personally, I lean towards Rocket or Nebula because they were scarred since childhood.
Rocket, man.
Well, I mean, here's the
So
thing
Scarlet
about...
Witch in a way, too.
Look, Scarlet Witch, I think Tony and Scarlet Witch had the single best, I believe, character journeys and character arcs in the MCU. I absolutely love both of their character journeys. But while Scarlet Witch went through a lot of emotional trauma, the reality is, if you're talking about characters like Rocket and Nebula, they went through science fiction level horrors, physical trauma, where literally their bodies were cut apart and pieced together and removed and sliced and diced and chopped and replaced and all that kind of stuff. Like, you just, again, I'm not taking away anything from the trauma that like a Scarlet Witch had. What is love? What is grief if not love persevering and everything? But you can't compare that to what Nebula or Rocket went through.
And plus, with the physical stuff, their outlook on the world, it like shaped them. Like the Nebula was so standoffish, things like that. They viewed the world in such a different way that that physical trauma did affect who they are now.
Yeah, who they are, what they are, and how they view the world.
And that's the worst kind of trauma, I think, when it changes your views on things.
Well, I mean, it did that to Scarlet Witch too, right? She became a mass murderer.
Right.
All right, what's next?
Dave says, saw The Monkey last night. My goodness, even though it is completely different style film from Longlegs, it's got that Oz Perkins X factor that elevates it in some of the most insane kills I've seen in a while. I'm excited for your thoughts if you go.
I'm first of all, I'm very interested in seeing this movie. It hasn't opened yet, has it?
The Monkey?
Yeah.
I believe it opens tomorrow.
Oh, so it opens this weekend.
Hold on, yeah. I think so.
Does it?
Let me
I've
look
got
that
it
up
right
for you.
here. Well, let's see.
I thought I looked that up yesterday.
I can't even find the name. Is it just Monkey or The Monkey?
I can't remember. I just can't remember when it opens. No, they're saying it opens next Friday.
Oh, next Friday. Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down to see this movie. I am. I thought now it does look, come on, let's be honest. It looks like a little bit of a Final Destination ripoff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
But I am still down for it. So I am looking forward to seeing it. All right. What's next?
Sam Fisher says, I love the new accountant trailer. His chick magnet shirt is so funny. I'm really excited to see them work as a team, especially the interplay between Christian and Braxton.
I mean, seriously, I besides the fact that I love the first movie and have loved it ever since I've seen it, the idea of seeing the on-screen chemistry and dynamic between John Bernthal and Ben Affleck, I just it takes it to a new level for me. So that for me also is one of the absolute main things that I'm looking forward to this, and one of the reasons why I love the trailer so much. All right, what's next?
We got Joe Adonis says, "Hi John, Jonathan, and Ray. It's game day. We'll be patching, or we will be patching. We'll be watching Paddington in a Brave New World with a companion, but flying solo. A good time to be at the movies today. What are some of your best double or triple features?"
I can't really remember. I just remember my worst double feature. That I mean, so my worst double feature, and guys, you're gonna have to help me with the name of one of them because I can't remember the name of it. But it was me, Ray. I can't remember if you were there or not.
I went for one of the movies. I
Me,
think.
Dennis.
Oh no,
Dennis Zen, John Schnepp, and I can't remember, Ray, if you were there or not. We decided one day to go do a double feature. One was Jupiter Ascending.
Oh no, I wasn't there.
With Channing Tatum.
Thank God.
That was so bad. It was so unspeakably bad. Like it was the kind of bad that I'm kind of surprised that it's not. Like if I ever changed my unholy trinity to the unholy quadrilogy, there might be, I'm not saying it would be, but I'm saying I'd have to give some thought to putting Jupiter Ascending on there because it was so bad. And then the second one I saw that day that we braved to go watch.
Was it Valerian?
Same day. Oh. No, it was much, much worse than Valerian. It was Seventh Son. I believe that starred Jeff Bridges.
Oh boy.
We literally sat in a theater and watched Seventh Son and Jupiter Ascending back to back. It was one of the most horrible movie-going days of my life. It was truly, truly, truly awful. All right, what's next?
Okay, Joe Adonis follows up. Hi, John, Jonathan, Ray. John, if you're still on a conclave high, there's a live reading of the script by Brett Goldstein as Lawrence, BJ Novak as Tremblay, Ayo Idibiri as Agnes, and Josh Gad as Bellini, and more. It's on Focus Features YouTube channel. Wow.
That's really interesting.
Covenant,
guys, seriously, Covenant is a movie that should get, it's nominated, but it should get serious consideration for Best Picture. By looking at the box office results of it, I mean, nobody thought a movie about a bunch of old Cardinals voting for Pope was going to be a big blockbuster hit. Like nobody ever thought that. But guys, it is a movie you should watch. If you love good story, great intrigue, wonderful characters, fantastic dialogue, and in like galactic level performances, you've got to watch Conclave. It's so good. It's so great. I loved this movie, and that sounds really interesting. All right, what's next?
Sponge said, "Hey, John and crew, it looks like we have another Batgirl situation, but not from WB, this time from Universal, as the movie Golden, which was supposed to star Halle Bailey, as has been canceled. This movie was supposed to be released in summer of 2025.
So what was the movie called?
Golden. Let me look that up.
Huh.
I'm completely unfamiliar with it.
Yeah, me too.
So kind of irrelevant. So it's not a big deal. I mean, I don't know if they ever actually, though, if it was like a Batgirl situation, like it might have been scheduled for summer 2025, but did they ever actually fully go and shoot the movie?
Right.
Oh, so Golden is a musical inspired by Pharrell Williams' childhood in Virginia Beach. It was
it's on IMDb, but I don't see anything
by Brian Tyree Henry, Janelle Monáe.
Yeah,
it's probably still in development.
Yeah, so I have no idea whether they fully shot it or not. But listen, the bottom line is, if you're a studio and you make a movie and you are not happy with the result and you don't think it's going to make any money, then do you want to spend the required minimum $20 million minimum? Ugh. $20 million to market the film upon release, because you have when movie theaters accept to take your movie, you have contractual obligations of a minimum amount of money you need to spend to market that movie. Because if movie theaters, like, if we're going to take up our screens, you need to market this thing so people come. And if they're looking at that saying, we don't even think we would make back the marketing money on this, then the responsible thing to do is just kill it. So again, but again, I don't know the inside story of this particular project, so I don't have any inside information on it. I don't know the circumstances around it. I'm just saying, if you're a studio and you make it and you're like, and now we got to spend another 20 or 30 million, no, then you got to pull the plug. That's the good business decision to make. All right, what's next?
Jonah says Stephen Graham's new Victorian TV series, which starts on February 20th, 1,000 Blows, looks great.
Yeah, that does look really good.
Written by Stephen Knight. I think he is playing the baddie and a boxer. You can see he got himself jacked, but he is a good actor and will probably be good.
You know what? I had a few of our viewers. I'm only aware of this one because some of our viewers are
Right.
the ones who brought it up to me. I completely hadn't heard about it. Because of that, I started looking more into it. And it actually looks pretty good. And now here's the thing. Everybody loved Peaky Blinders. I have to admit I didn't. That it's one of those rare ones where everybody seemed to really like it, and it just didn't quite. I didn't hate it, but it didn't quite click for me, and I kind of bailed on it after about 6 episodes. But I mean, and this has a little bit of feel for that, but it does look good. I'm going to give it a shot. All right, what's next?
Tawheed Razak says, John, over under 50%. Captain America 4 does not break even given the underwhelming critic response.
I'm going to say over. Over under that it doesn't break even.
That it does not.
Okay. I think it will break even.
So-
I'm not super confident about that, but I think it will. So I'll say it's an under 50% chance that it doesn't break even.
Right.
I listen, it's still a Marvel movie. People still flock out to see them. So I'm going to say it will break even, but ask me again after I see the movie. I might feel differently. All right. What's next?
Jonah says, whatever Captain America Brave New World is, I doubt it will be as bad as the last Thor movie, and I can't believe that has got a better critic rating than Eternals, which I enjoy. That Thor movie is the worst MCU movie of all time. It was horrible.
It's not. I don't even think Thor Love and Thunder is in the bottom 3. It's on the bottom half for sure. It's 100% for sure on the bottom half. The problem is it's a matter of comparison, because I immediately compare Thor Love and Thunder to Thor Ragnarok, which was brilliant, right? And so you come out of Thor Love and Thunder, which is so far below Thor Ragnarok that it creates a perception in your mind. But look, here's the reality about Thor Love and Thunder. There were still a bunch of people entertained by it, right? There were still a bunch of people entertained by it, even though it wasn't nearly as good quality. Reality is 76% was the audience score on Thor Love and Thunder.
Right.
I mean, which is not amazing, which is not great, but most people who went to go see it walked out going, like, having laughed. Everybody knows my feelings on Thor Love and Thunder, but the reality is I still laughed a bunch. There was a bunch of the parts of the movie that I laughed, and I was legitimately entertained by a few parts of it. I think personally, in my own subjective opinion, I definitely think there are worse MCU movies than Thor Love and Thunder. All right, what's next?
This is the last of the tips. As a public account, or Sino says, as a public accountant on the spectrum myself, I can't wait for The Accountant 2. I was crossing my fingers till the end of the trailer to see the release date, April 25th. It's right after busy season, so I can go see it. Now back to my spreadsheets.
Hopefully you're not also one who takes out guns and start killing people after hours.
Right.
Again, I am just shocked that this movie even got made. And again, I'm one who's been cheering. I don't know that there's another film fan out there who's been cheering for a sequel to this as much as I have.
You love this movie.
I love this movie. But if I was a studio executive and they came to me a year ago and said, hey, what do you think about making an Accountant 2? I would love to see it, but I couldn't make a business argument for making it. It didn't do all that well. It's been so many years since it came out. So I am baffled how this movie got made, but I'm grateful it got made. I can't wait to watch this thing. I hope it does well. I really do.
Yeah.
All right. Now, listen, guys. Most days, we not only take questions from people who send in questions to our tip link, but we also take time almost every day to take questions from our beloved channel members. If you are one of our channel members, most days Jonathan puts up a post in the community tab asking our channel members just to fire in some free questions. So let's go over and see what we got. What have some of our channel members asked?
Dalton says, over under 20% Kevin Feige leaves Marvel after launching the new X-Men, bringing his career full circle.
I'd say 100%. Actually, I wouldn't even be surprised if he leaves before the new X-Men are fully launched. I've been saying for a few years now that I've been saying for about, honestly, for about 4 years now, I'm just guessing, that I think sometime within the next 5 years or so, Kevin Feige's going to leave. There's nothing, look, there's nothing left for him to accomplish. He's done it all. Create the highest grossing franchise in cinematic history. Check. Actually have some of my movies nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Check. Like, he's literally done it all. And Kevin Feige's a big creative guy. He's going to need a new challenge. He needs a new mountain to climb. So I would be shocked, not angry, but shocked if he was still the head of Marvel, say, 3 years from now. I'd be really surprised. So I don't know. We'll see. All right, what's next?
Okay, Logan Vaughn says, in the spirit of today's topic, my bottom 3 MC movies are Iron Man 3, Thor 2, and Ant-Man Quantumania. I didn't mind Iron Man 3. I thought it was the second best of the three.
Yeah, to me, I'm almost with you on that. I would say, personally, Iron Man 2, like in no particular order, Iron Man 2, Thor 2, and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Like, to me, those are the 3 worst ones. I don't think Iron Man 3 was fantastic, but I liked Iron Man 3 much more than I liked Iron Man 2. Anyway, all right, what's next?
King Daddy says, hey, John and crew, hope all is well today. I saw the trailer for The Accountant 2, and I couldn't help to think, damn, this looks good. I'm so excited for this one. What is your all thoughts on the trailer? Well, we answered that, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I really, really do like the look of it, the tone of it, the chemistry. Again, they were going to have to make this movie work. You got to nail that chemistry between Bernthal and Affleck. And it looks like they did it, so I'm all for it. All right, what's next?
Logan Vaughn says, what was the last movie you saw in 3D? I share, for me, it was Avatar for sure. I share your distaste for it, and I haven't seen anything in 3D since Thor: The Dark World. I don't mind the Avatar films in 3D because they're shot differently. It's more like it has depth than that it comes out at you, but Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar, I didn't watch Avatar 2 in 3D. I saw the first Avatar in 3D. And I actually didn't mind that experience. That was a good job. But then later I saw it without 3D. I'm like, oh, this is just as good without it being 3D. So I never watched it in 3D again. I can't. And by the way, Thor. I think my timing might be off. I think the last one I watched in 3D was that Beowulf animated movie.
With Russell Crowe?
Yeah, with Angelina Jolie.
But it was named Grendel. Was that the name
Oh,
of it?
no, never mind.
Or was it named
Yeah, it
Beowulf?
was
Was it named
Beowulf.
Beowulf?
The one with him was Beowulf.
Okay. So I think that was the last one I watched in 3D.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll never waste my money going to see a 3D movie again.
First 3D movie ever?
What's that?
First 3D movie ever?
What was the first?
Do you
3D?
remember?
No.
Your first 3D ever?
Oh, my first 3D movie I
Yeah.
ever saw.
Yeah.
We mentioned it already today.
It's the same as me.
Jaws 3D.
It's mine too.
That was the first movie
still
I ever
remember
saw in
the Jaws.
3D.
I was a little kid and I still remember the Jaws coming out at you, you know.
You know what the first shot was? That it was in the opening of the film.
Yeah.
And you just you didn't really see the shark. You just saw this fish swim by.
Yep.
And then
And you see the fish
and then
floating.
the fish head comes floating out.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, the fish head is over the audience.
Yeah,
That
I
was my
was
first
4
ever
years.
3D movie.
I was 4 years old.
Oh.
That was my second movie. So my first movie ever in a theater that I can remember was Return of the Jedi. And 3 months later, I saw Jaws 3D.
All right. What's next?
All right. We got Emmanuel says, hey, team, what would be the most likely young Avengers in the big screen or Disney Plus? I would think Disney Plus if they're going to do
I still don't believe they're going to make one. People have been saying for 4 or 5 years, we're going to get a Young Avengers. And I'm saying, I don't think we are. And here we are 4 or 5 years later, and we still don't. It's possible they do one. I think if they did one, and I do not think they will. But if they did, it would be Disney Plus. But also, if they did, it would not be called Young Avengers because they are not going to just start they're not going to let the Avengers name become diluted. So if they did something like it, it would be called something else. But I still don't think they will do one. I mean, you never know what'll happen in 10 years from now, but I mean, in the immediate future, I still don't think they're doing one. Again, I'm not saying I know that they aren't. I'm just guessing as a fan, pure guess. But my guess is they're still not going to do one. And if they do, it'll be Disney Plus. And if they do, it will not be called Young Avengers. All right, what's next?
Mr. Rob says, if Kevin Feige came to you for help to make a decision and said Sam Raimi and Scott Derrickson both want to direct the next Doctor Strange movie, who would you go with?
Ooh. Okay, look, I'll give an answer, but let me say this first. It would really depend on where Kevin Feige wants to take things. Because if he wants things to go in a certain direction, Scott Derrickson would be the ideal guy to direct it. If he wants it to go in a different kind of direction, Sam Raimi would become the guy he wants to direct it. Listen, there were a lot of things about Multiverse of Madness that I did like. I still think Doctor Strange 1 was better than Doctor Strange 2. But there were a number of things about Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, that I really did enjoy, that I think in the hands of a lesser director. Because remember, they went for much grander, bigger idea things in the second one than they did in the first. And in the hands of a lesser director, some of those higher concept things could have really gone off the rails, right? Sam Raimi did a pretty good job. And let's not forget, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was basically $1 billion film. It came just short. How much did it make? It was like 960 or something million. Anyway, it came just short of being $1 billion film. I would say I would be happy with either of them, but I would say give Sam Raimi another swing at it. That's what I would say, but it would be close.
It was 955.
955.
Sorry.
So yeah, it came really close to being $1 billion film.
All
right. What's next?
Here's our last one from Umong. Says, hey, John and crew, do you think we'll see Miles Spider-Man before or in Secret Wars?
No, we're not going to see a live action Miles Morales. Not as long as Sony wants to continue making the animated Spider-Verse movies. They don't want to have to compete or cause confusion, whatever. So no, I don't think, again, I'm not saying I know they won't. I'm just saying I don't believe that the contract would allow for Marvel to use a live action Miles Morales right now. Anyway, and guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Hey guys, don't forget, a little bit later today, we'll be doing our out of the theater reaction for Captain America Brave New World. And of course, we will see you again on tomorrow's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Hey guys, listen, I very rarely do this, but do make sure to click the like button and to, gently press the subscribe button as well. It's not really a big deal to me, but it does help feed the YouTube algorithm gods, and it helps spread our videos out even more. So if you wouldn't mind taking a quick moment before you move on to your next thing of the day, click the like button, click the subscribe button. It helps us out a great deal around here. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora.
All right, see you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
All right, see you guys.
Big thanks to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.